Okay, hello. Today we're going to be cooking a couple fun things. I've got a sheet pan lemon chicken, I've got some stir fry, and I'm going to make some breakfast sandwiches today. We're going to start with the lemon chicken because it takes the longest. Uh, Pretty much it's a bunch of root vegetables, some chicken thighs, and lemon. Start with a nice big sheet pan. For my vegetables, I'm going to be using a butternut squash, some potatoes, some carrots, some parsnips, whatever I got. I'm going to start with the butternut squash because it's the biggest pain to cut up. Now it's kind of important to scoop out the seeds and, peel it because butternut squash rind tastes pretty disgusting. So they taste okay, but I don't actually like them baked up. I don't really like pumpkin seeds either. I don't know. Yes, and it tastes good, and it's orange. Adds color. I don't know. These ones, by the time they've gotten through the grocery stores and everything else, the skin's really incredibly tough. I don't know. I don't really like it. That's good because I was removing it anyway because it doesn't taste very good and it's hard and I don't want to, cook it up at lunch at church or at work and then not have to do anything. Yeah, if I got these really new from like the farm stand, it might be a little different, but by the time Yeah, it's like a week till they get through the grocery store supply chain, and then they're kind of old and not as tasty. I don't know. Maybe they're different varieties, I don't know. Yes. I am just coming off the season of cheap bell peppers, and it's going to make me really sad. I was buying them for like $1 a kilo last week, and I know a month from now they're going to be like $5 a kilo. There's already some things that are getting super expensive, and I'm like, well, I guess summer's over. My power bill won't miss it, but my fridge will. Shouldn't that just be... Oh, okay. I want to say, it should be just coming into season down where you are. It's like a spring and summer and then early fall. There we go. Stop rocking. And I'm just dicing this all up bite-sized. You say that. I have to say I like Swiss chard better than I like kale. I think it tastes better. Yeah, with all the colors. Yes, the stems have all that wonderful color, and then you cook them just a little longer with a little more salt, and they taste really good. Although I guess, to be fair, covered in cheese, almost everything tastes better. Do you eat a bike? Like, I don't eat bikes. Like, I have a bike, but I wouldn't want to eat it. Also, you remind me that everyone on the internet, there's someone who's always weirder than you, no matter how weird you think you are. Because I'm never eating an airplane, even in 1,000 years. Go for a couple of parsnips. This one, yeah, this one. Because I don't trust the grocery store. Add a couple potatoes. these I don't peel. They're red potatoes. And trust me, they don't taste like apples. They taste like potatoes. Let's see, can I do this? I can find the screen. There we go. Look, see, it's a potato. Where's left? There's left. If I plug my nose enough, everything will taste like apples. Or nothing at all. Okay. Yeah. Couple onions. starting to go a little bad, but that's okay. Okay. Last thing I need is onion juice in my eyes. Okay, let's see. Tarragon. There's my salt. Some oil. And this is when you preheat the oven to 400. If you were fancy, you'd have another bowl for this, but if I put another bowl on this, I have to clean up another bowl. Mix these guys up. Make sure you get oil on all of it. Otherwise it all burns and then it tastes bad. I mean, I have a dishwasher, but I would much rather just not make them dirty in the first place. So you can say you're saving water, and then you're saving the environment by having less dishes. That's how it works. Okay, now I got the last ingredient. Got chicken thighs. Other knife. And you can see I'm doing 2 dishes, so I don't want to contaminate my one cutting board with meat and then have to wash it. So I cheat. Now these, your goal is to make them all about the same height, because it means they're the same thickness and they'll cook at about the same speed. You want to leave the skin on, because the skin makes it taste good. And basically, you nestle them in. Okay. I got bone-in chicken thighs. The boneless ones were like 5 times as expensive, and I ain't got money for that. A little bit of salt on each one, more than you think you need, because you always need more than you think you need. And then a little bit of tarragon. A little bit, not. And then the last step here is going to be the lemon. For that you need 2 lemons. And make sure you wash them because they come covered in wax, which tastes disgusting. Meat cutting board out of the way. I'm going to make juice out of one, and then I'm going to put slices out of the other. So the one I'm juicing, start with a little bit of action here. Figure out where I put my lemon juicer. I don't know. Well, juice it by hand. Hopefully keep most of the seeds out. The second half here, get some of the zest off of. Using that nice and fancy microplaner. If you don't have one, you don't need to do this. I just think it makes it taste better. And now this other one, I picked the smaller one. I'm going to slice it into little thin slices and put them on top of it. Okay, aim for 1 slice on each piece of chicken, so that way they'll keep the chicken moist, and then there. And this will go in the oven at 400 for 45 to 50 until it's all cooked. In about 25 minutes, I'll pull it out and stir all the veggies around. While that's going, I'm going to start the second dish, which is going to actually be, let's do the stir fry next. So start with the rice. In this case, I have cheated. This is 1.5 cups of rice. I'm going to fill it up to the 2-cup line, and then we're going to just cook it in the rice cooker. And as always, I've found it boils over less if you add about a couple drops of oil. Plug it in and let it rip. There we go. Okay, while the rice is cooking, work on the rest of the stir fry. Couple steps. We're going to make a sauce that we're going to put on in the end, and then we're going to fry up all the ingredients. Step one is going to be the sauce. We're going to have to thicken it because in the end I've got a lot of mushrooms in the dish, and mushrooms make lots of liquid, and liquid is great if it's the right sauce consistency, but if it's not, it's kind of bleh. So a tablespoon and a little bit of cornstarch, couple tablespoons of water, got some honey, hopefully. There it is. Couple tablespoons of honey. Soy sauce. Again, a couple tablespoons. A little sesame oil, hopefully. There it is. Sesame oil is really strong. Be really careful. Don't put in like a ton. It won't taste good. And your reason to use cornstarch over flour is cornstarch gets less lumpy and it doesn't over thicken. So I like cornstarch. Okay, now in our pan here, imagine it's a wok, it's not a wok. I have cheated. I have this wonderful sirloin strips already cut up for stir fry, and I'm going to use them. If you were not cheating, you could cut your own up. Or you could go vegetarian and not use any at all. When getting these out, make sure you don't have lots of liquid because it doesn't taste good and doesn't help. Now I got this from a chain that does a really good job at keeping all the slices nice and thin. But you know, double check, make sure there's no huge chunks of meat because all that turns into is tough chunks of meat for you to chew through. Okay, looks good. I feel like I washed my hands 25 times during this stream, but it's better to not get cross-contamination than a little extra washing. Okay, you want the pan on. You want the pan really hot, like really hot. Oil in it. Basically, you're going to cook every ingredient from here on out. Just do it in batches. You don't want too much in the pan. You want to make sure that you don't boil it. You want to fry it. So basically, you just do it in batches over and over and over again until you're out of ingredients. After this, I'm going to cut up a couple onions. We're going to do onions the same way. And then we're going to do a couple bell peppers and then some mushrooms to finish it off. But first, I've got to be patient, which I'm bad at. Not quite. Really, you should be able to, like with your hand a couple inches above the surface, you should count your hand to like 3 Mississippi, and then it should be like, wow, this is hot. And make sure you're not using olive oil because it'll just start smoking and catch on fire, and no one likes fire unplanned in the kitchen. Not quite. Once this first piece starts to fry, that's when I'll put in some more. Okay. Everyone says stir fry is super fast, but it's one of those meals that being patient on will pay off 100-fold. And basically, as soon as it just gets brown, I'm going to pull them and put new stuff in. I don't want to overcook them now because we've got to cook the sauce down at the end. And these are really thin, so there isn't much middle. And your goal on the heat is pretty much as hot as you can make it. If I had an induction stove, I'd have it up at like 9,000 degrees. this get all the way back up to temperature. Basically from here on out, all the flavor I put into the pan stays in the pan. You're building layers. Looks like 3 batches. And I don't know if you guys can hear it in the background, but I've got both the rice boiling in the background as well. Rice cookers are an amazing invention. If you don't have one, I recommend it. Now while the steak is cooking, I'm going to cut up the first onion. Now, unlike the last one, I kind of want this in spears. Trying to match the same size and shape as your pieces of meat. That's why I bought really big onions. Okay. onions instead of oil. I like butter, so I'm going to put a little butter in. They've pretty well separated themselves. You can actually do 2 onions. Doesn't look like quite enough. Okay, the rice is ready. Let me unplug it. Normally you use the keep warm function to keep it warm until you eat. As we're packing this up for meal prep, I don't need to keep it warm. And just let it cool off a little faster. Onions I always try and be patient on because I like them more cooked, and that means you've got to spend time. But while that's going on, a couple peppers, and I slice them up as well. Wash them first. Colors are great. And you can't see it, but the moisture from the onions themselves is starting to deglaze the pan. So that way I don't have to. Okay, green and orange. Last week I found the tiger striped ones that are really cool on sale cheap. This week they're like $5 a pound. Okay. And these guys just go in slices. Oops. Okay. The onions are almost translucent, so they're almost ready. Done with that guy. These. This. The nice thing is I could have used anything I wanted. I'll often use asparagus, but it's totally way out of season right now and costs an arm and a leg. Alright. It's been 25 minutes. Let me check on these. Stir around the vegetables a little. Put them back in. Obviously not done. Okay. Back in. Another 25 minutes. Okay. They're starting to smell really good. If I had a spare 4 hours, I would make French onion soup right now. But I don't, and it's hot. Okay. Add some more butter. basically starting from my most wet. Because I like the flavor of butter, so I use butter. I could have used oil, no problem here. Also, the peppers won't get as hot. If something gets well above the boiling point when you're cooking it, sometimes butter will smoke, but peppers are basically like 70% water, so they can't get that hot. And while they're in there, I'm going to get the next ingredient ready. This is button mushrooms. I buy them in a giant package because I like mushrooms. Again, this is stir fry. You can use whatever you want. But as in the case with mushrooms, I want to rinse them off. Theoretically, these are clean. I don't trust anyone. And sit over there and drain while these finish cooking. The goal with the peppers is just get them a little soft. They'll continue cooking at the very end. Okay. Back here. Mushrooms. Reasons why mushrooms are last, they've got a ton of water in them, so they're going to deglaze the pan. And then as soon as the mushrooms are ready, I can add everything else back in. And then the sauce. And while that is going, let me get the rice portioned out. And if in the end you put your stir fry next to your rice when you refrigerate it, it is going to not absorb as much of the sauce liquid, so it stays good longer. Alright, and you guys can't see this, but there's actually standing water in the pan from those mushrooms. That's how much liquid they absorb and give off. They're just starting to shrink, so they're about ready. Rice tastes like rice. That's what I forgot. A small one. That's like a quarter teaspoon or so. And remember, you can add heat, you can't remove it, so be cautious. Okay. In goes everybody else, along with all the juices that seeped out of all of it. Okay. Stir this up. Add it to the pan. Bring it all up to a nice boil and it'll thicken. And then it's ready to eat. Which gives me about 15 minutes left on the chicken in the oven, which lets me start getting ready to make the breakfast sandwiches. It's all a dance. Again, as always, patience is a virtue in the kitchen, and I possess none. Basically, you're looking for the sauce to start to thicken, and if after it gets to a boil for 60 seconds it hasn't, well, you need more cornstarch. And I guess I'll use this conveniently placed break to remind you that if you look in the upper right hand corner of your screen and the heart is empty, you should fill the heart and follow me, and that way you can see my cooking every week. And Feel free to turn off email notifications, doesn't matter. But, you know, put the heart on. You'll see when I'm live. Wait, Kitty, you weren't following me? Guess not, but hey, now you are. Now you'll know. I distracted you with food. That's totally what happened. It's not quite thick enough. Let me... Oh, there it is. Put in some more cornstarch. See if that does it. Oh yeah, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Now all I've got to do is portion it out and eat it. Let's see. A little bit for now. Yeah. Here. I probably made too much. I know. It's a sin, making too much food. A little more on that one. Actually, only a little too much. Not bad. Yeah, I guess I'm having this for dinner. Hot things are hot. Stack these guys up. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. Sit right there. This can sit up there and torture me. 6 minutes left on that. Grab another pan. I got these shiny brand new They're for fruit tarts, but I'm using them to cook eggs. So I'm going to make the eggs in the oven. And these are very conveniently sized, like an English muffin. So when you make your breakfast sandwiches, you can just use this in the microwave with your already cooked egg in there. And there you go, it's the right shape. Also, they came in a 6-pack, and there's 6 English muffins in a package. Coincidence? I think not. Each of these is going to get a couple drops of oil swirled around in them so that they don't stick. One egg, a couple spices. This is where, if I had spray nonstick, I'd use it, but I don't, so I can't. Extra. But my finger works pretty well. Just crack one egg in each of these. I'm using the separate container so I don't end up with a pile of eggshell. But I'm just doing 1 egg per. It's not shell. Six. Rinse my hands off from all that raw egg. A fork. If you've ever been to a McDonald's or a Burger King or a Dunkin' Donuts, you notice the egg yolks are always broken. That's so that way they get about the same height, and that way they cook at the same speed. And then to put on top, I've got this wonderful, it's mushroom flavoring seasoning, and then, if I can find, there it is. This seasoning that is everything but the bagel. So it's all your poppy seeds and salt and sesame seeds and garlic. And now these are also going to go in the oven, and they're going to go in for 12-ish minutes. I'm going to check them at 10. I don't want them to overcook, but I want to make sure they're cooked all the way through because these are going to sit in the fridge for a couple days. I don't want the raw egg in the middle. And it's been the right number of minutes for our chicken. Time to see how it's doing, see if I need to put it in for any longer. I can tell you it smells really good. Close. Needs just a little bit longer. Almost everything is done, but not quite. I'll leave this in those extra 10 minutes too. Hopefully that'll get the last of it all cooked. These are dirty. My sink is slowly filling up with dishes. But my fridge should also be filling up with dishes. Can move this guy. I'm done cutting for today. Here. It's dirty. The piece you guys don't see is me spending 2 hours tonight cleaning all my dishes. No, got a couple minutes. Maybe could have used maybe even a pinch more of the hot pepper flakes, but it's pretty good. Okay. Six minutes left on that timer. Mushroom. No, it's dinner. I should eat out of this bowl. Now on top of the eggs, I'm going to put some ham and some cheese, and then put them in an English muffin. You could eat just as easily cook up some bacon, or you could have them without and have vegetarian. I didn't have any ready, but some really minced onion, if you fry it up beforehand, you could drop, you know, a teaspoon into each egg dish, and you'd have a little veggie with your breakfast. But you don't have to. If you're going to do it like a Dunkin' Donuts does when you cook your breakfast sandwiches, you're going to take your egg out, leave it in that. These are silicone, so I can microwave them. microwave it in that with whatever ham, bacon, sausage, whatever on top. You're going to put the cheese on top of that after it comes out of the microwave and flip it onto the lid of your breakfast sandwich, which you've toasted separately. That's how they do it there, which works pretty well. So I see no reason to not copy. Look, Kitty, I've told you, if you find a way to sneak into America, I will give you all the noms. Yeah, I ate everything. I actually had to eat out last night because I was out of dishes. And this will be the same, like 7.5 meals, because I'll pack up another 3 out of this chicken, and then I'll put some chicken and potatoes on a plate here so I can take really cool pictures, and then I can eat it because I want to eat it, along with the half serving of stir fry. And then I will put all 6 of those breakfast sandwiches into my last glass container, which I probably have to buy more of. The goal really is to not make enough for every single meal, but make enough for most of the meals. So that way if I want to, I can go out to eat for dinner. And if I don't want to, I don't have to go out for eat for dinner. So if you see a box appear outside your house that looks like it's kitty sized, and there's a label for America on it, just hop in and call the number so they come pick it up. Well, once you're in country, it's easy. Then I just put you on a train. It takes a little while, but you can get out there. It's the other side of the country. It's like 2 days. I don't have a car. I drive. Minute 50. Okay, so the eggs look good. They don't jiggle. They're also hot. So these I'll just put aside. I'll let them cool outside of the fridge and then put them in a sealed container. I don't want the steam like getting between each of these because I'm going to stack them just straight on top of each other. And as you can see, they've pulled back just a little bit from the edge, so they'll be really easy to flip out, which is great. It's just what I'm looking for. Okay. minute snakes. I don't know where my fork went. Okay, oh, look at that. Okay. Looks good. Now I just gotta pack these guys all up and they'll be good to go. Turn the oven off before I overheat myself. Okay. So to start with, each of these gets one of the pieces of chicken. And I'll keep the smallest one for myself for the meal today. Keep its little lemon peel on top. Rinse my spoon. I wouldn't want to cross-contaminate my cultures here. And then a pile of veggies in each plate. Then add a little more. Seal these guys up. Well, I am almost done cooking, so left for doors sounds like an idea. Except I don't own it. Plate up the last one for the picture. Butternut squash really looks really pretty when it's cooked. Almost looks like cantaloupe. Alright, well, there you have it. 6 lunches, 6 breakfasts, and then I'll call this 8 lunches and dinners. Done in what? Hour and a half. If you aren't following me, feel free to follow. And I will see you guys all back here next week. Same bad time, same bad channel, where I cook more things. Because if there's anything that's true about life, you eat food and then you need to make more food. Happy cooking.